Hey there, Mandalorians, and welcome to Screen Rant. It's not Friday, but it sure feels like it because we've got another episode of The Mandalorian to geek out about. Yahoo! I think there's some other big Star Wars thing coming out this Friday, which is probably why we got it early this week, but we're not here to talk about that. We're here to break down The Reckoning, Chapter 7 of The Mandalorian. Some of the last couple episodes might have been a little fillery for some of you, but don't fret. Number 7, directed by Deborah Chow, who also directed the great third episode, is a return to form. In it, we find Mr. Mando and some friends headed back to Navarro to meet an old rival who's extended a dubious invitation to make peace. And of course, things never go as smoothly as one might hope. And yes, we did learn something about that mysterious person at the end of Chapter 5, but it might not be what you were expecting. We'll get to that in a minute, and on that note, this is your official spoiler warning and last chance to click away and watch something else before we ruin the episode for you. And with that, I'm Greg Elliott, and here is every Star Wars reference and Easter egg in the penultimate episode of Season 1 of The Mandalorian. Alright, let's get some aliens and droids out of the way real quick. This isn't the first time we've seen one in the show, but the guy Kara is fighting in the bar is a Zabrak, the same species as Mr. Darth Maul. We also got another RA-7 sighting, first seen in A New Hope, and obviously IG-11 is back too.
Would anyone care for some tea?
And speaking of IG-11, Quill mentions that he kept him in accordance with the Charter of the New Republic. Now this was mentioned in the old expanded universe now called Legends, but it could also be what becomes the New Republic's constitution in the new canon, which was first mentioned in the Bloodline novel, which takes place 6 years before The Force Awakens. And holy crap, Baby Yoda used a force choke on Kara. Now I get it, he was trying to help Mando in the arm wrestling match, but force choking is generally only something we see the dark side use, and don't you try to tell me that Luke used it against Jabba's guards in Return of the Jedi. Yes, I know what it looks like, but I'm not buying it. Greef calls Baby Yoda a little bogwing at one point, which are those flying things we first saw in the swamp on Dagobah in The Empire Strikes Back, and are mostly native to Naboo. And when Greef is injured by those dragony things on the lava fields, Kara asks for med packs, the first aid kits that have been seen before in Star Wars Rebels and canon novels like Thrawn and Dark Disciple. And here's a cool one: with no med packs available, Baby Yoda uses force healing on Greef. Although it has been seen in plenty of older video games like the Knights of the Old Republic, this is the first time it's been shown in the new canon, and I'm sure not the last. A cool little callback to A New Hope is when the Mandalorian pretends to be a prisoner of Greef's in order to get to the client, or the imp as Mando calls him, kind of like Chewie pretends to be Luke and Han's prisoner to get to Leia in her cell. Quill also gives Mando a comlink to stay in touch, which have been seen all over Star Wars going all the way back to A New Hope. We also saw Scout Troopers, also known as Biker Scouts, and their speeders, which we first saw in Return of the Jedi, as well as Death Troopers, those elite all-black stormtroopers that show up at the end with Moth Gideon. Those were first teased in the Poe Dameron comics, and we got our first good look at them in Rogue One. And speaking of Moth Gideon, he shows up in a TIE fighter, but a version that we've never seen before on film with folding wings. This Outland TIE fighter did make its first appearance recently in the Star Wars Card Trader mobile app, and clearly looks to be based off of Doug Chiang's unused concept art from The Force Awakens. And that mysterious figure from the end of Chapter 5, well, you may have thought that was Moff Gideon, but we didn't hear any sounds of any jangling spurs when he walked up. Only one person in Star Wars is known to have those, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see. So thanks for watching, guys, and if we missed anything, please let us know in the comments. I'm Greg Elliott with Screen Rant, and I'll see you next time. Peace.